Here we are, it's July, and the lawn gone is now the garden. So, take a look. I tried to keep the numbers of things that I planted down to a minimum, but I got so excited I just ended up planting a lot. So, but luckily, most of it came up. The one thing I did have a little bit of issue with were some hot weather plants that I put in, peppers and eggplants, that for a while were really stunted and they did not look happy at all. And a master gardener friend stopped by and said the nitrogen that was breaking down underneath was taking all of its energy to do that with the leaves. The plants needed extra fertilizer. So lesson one, just because there's a lot of action going on underneath the soil did not mean the plants were getting the action. So I had to throw some organic fertilizer on them. Fish fertilizer, highly recommend. And the plants took off. They, like within 2 days, they had a whole new set of shoots and flowers, and they were really happy. The issue of to remove the sod or not to remove the sod, what I have noticed is there has not been any difference in the way plants have grown in one side of the yard over the other. Most of what I planted came up, and it didn't seem to matter the soil. It was more whether I watered it enough or, put in the right kind of seeds or those kinds of things. I did find that seeds, especially really fine seeds, did not really like growing in the soil as much, partly because they would, I think, get a little ways down. They'd run into a lot of leaf matter and other things, and it was hard for them to germinate there and get what they need from the soil. So I found I had more luck with seedlings than with little seeds. And that was kind of all over the garden because that leaf matter was everywhere. I have had hardly any weeding to do. That is the beauty of taking your lawn out. So pulling grass out occasionally if I found it, or a spare clover here or there, was not a big deal. So the weed issue, that was not what I spent most of my time doing out here this year. You might remember from long gone too that we needed to put a cloche around some spinach, and the plastic that I had wasn't long enough, so we decided to extend the plastic by putting wine bottles around the bottom as sort of a wall and then attach the plastic to it. Well, that later became an element to my garden. It turns out that wine bottles along the sides of raised beds can help enhance the warmth of the soil. They get hot and they keep heat. They have become a conversation piece as well. I get a lot of people stopping to ask me, why am I growing wine bottles in my yard? But they do serve a purpose. Some people stack them in like logs. I chose to do it this way because it didn't use up as much soil. So it's an inexpensive way to put a wall on your bed. It doesn't involve timbers and rocks, and they're recycled. So that's the deal with the wine bottles. I planted kale, Swiss chard, tomatoes, blueberries, strawberries, lots of nasturtiums because I wanted to attract bees when I didn't have flowering vegetables. I wanted them to be on the radar for the bees. Beans, did I already say wax beans, pole beans. There are lettuces, arugula being the most happy. There are peas on the totem and potatoes in the totem. Tomatoes. There's a crookneck squash and a zucchini. Basil on the other side of the tomato. Peppers, eggplant. Couple more bush beans. This was I was experimenting to see if they grew differently over here than they did over there. They're doing fine. Zucchini in the pot. The really big happy squash is a patty pan squash. I'm going to have a lot of patty pan squashes. Then there's 2 more zucchinis in here. I was experimenting with, seeds to see what would grow, and I ended up getting everything growing, so I'm going to have a lot of zucchini bread, giving a lot of zucchini away. Tomatoes are doing well. I experimented with hanging tomatoes upside down. Unfortunately, I should have only put 1 in each pot. They are choked for root space there. Lots of bees with the nasturtiums. Broccolis, a couple of varieties. So I've got a purple broccoli and then a regular broccoli you see in the stores. cucumber. Lots of flowers. No, oh, a little one starting. Here's another tomato. Sun golds are starting to ripen. And then this is my second shift of spinach and lettuce. This area stays cool during the heat of the day, and it gets morning sun and afternoon sun. It looks dry, but there's moisture underneath. I am going to have so many patty pan squashes. Ah! I'm not going to know what to do with them. Got any good recipes? When I got into this experiment, I was not sure what it was going to be like, how I would do, how it would grow. I was very apprehensive. I thought, oh God, what if I fail at this? But it has been a great experience. I've learned to let expectations go. If I plant something and it grows, score. And luckily a lot of it has. There's been a lot of seed exchange and seedling exchange, so there's been a lot of camaraderie, talking to other gardeners, learning. It has been a wonderful conversation starter in the neighborhood. This has been a great experience. I'm really thrilled that I've done it, and I've had several people come up to me and say, you know what, I'm going to do this to my yard because I know I can do it. It's doable, and it is not overwhelming amount of time, and it's been a great, fulfilling experience.